Many thanks for choosing us. Now to our stories. There was pandemonium at the Ejinam police station in the Tiwa East district of the Eastern region after the arrest of 2 illegal miners who were arrested by the task force and national executives of the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners. The task force made the arrest as part of activities to inspect the work of the task force to ensure the Ibrahim River is clean after its formation 4 months ago. There's more in this report.
The 2 illegal miners arrested on site, the excavator operator and the site supervisor, together with others, have diverted the flow of the Ibrahim River and were busily mining a few meters behind the Yinim police station. The national executives of the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners, together with a task force, moved the suspects to the police station to hand them over to the security operatives, but were resisted by other illegal miners in the community who had massed up at the Yinim police station, which resulted into a pandemonium between a Yinim youth led by Kosho and the task force team. Meanwhile, these illegal miners, who mostly operate at night, have dug huge trenches just 5 meters away from the main Accra-Kumasi highway, a situation which is currently posing threat to hundreds of commuters who use the highway. Speaking to the media after visiting some illegal mining sites in the Fanti-Akwa South District, the national president of the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners, Philip Ekufu, called for the immediate arrest of all illegal miners and perpetrators in the district, especially those working close to the highway.
Mira Hobi because I saw. If you say in Crawford Taka Garamsi, Anna, Yan small scale man, I say, and Tessie, Banade Yankasa Behu, I don't often a Garamsi. And Yen Tron, no.
I'm sad about the situation here. The Galamsey is destroying the land, and we must do whatever it takes to arrest them so others know that it's a bad practice.
What's about Chincrofoy? Yes, you are Bonnie Gan Habiano, the Betchum. Ye mo Biaquans, or my Adian Pansay or mine. Lines is a good and my Quancy and could you too. Baby, I best say, or my Japade. In the Combia Bequaso, I bet Chisancrofoy, Betchum, Magana Punya will say, as some Galamsey, and as some small scale mine in Ghana. In a dear, my idiot, a bonnie. We're not going to sit down for this thing to happen in this country. We have to stop it. We have to stop it. We're going to do that. So I've instructed the commander to make sure to arrest these culprits by the close of this week.
The DCE of Fanti-Akwa South, Ernest Ofosu, commended the task force and the leadership of Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners of their efforts to complement government's efforts to combat activities of illegal mining, which have become an albatross on the country. He pledged his commitment to support the task force to achieve their aims.
Now, since my task force was said, massive, me ko ejuma mo ye e wo Ibrahim no for that matter me district had many.
I really appreciate the work of the task force in my district. I called them a few days ago to alert them of the illegal mining going on. They came and were able to arrest a few people.
It was Monday, last week, Thursday, and I joined them for friends and for be a galamsey or baby. I'm about the kind of Jumadin, I'm obey and yet meeting for maybe. And see, it's my essay said, you be any idea of police bill.
Honestly, I will rely on them in all issues concerning Galamsey from now on. We have made some arrangement for another operation today. They are really doing a good job. Recently, the Ibrahim River is looking a little clean, which is an indication that the task force is doing a good job.
And recently, so offer Ibrahim Kokofodia, Udubun Soa, Ibrahim Bridge, and so to me, so many iden, as San El, it is a need at El, and also a free hop banana. It means that they are doing a good job. And I said that your mom all the needed supporter on bet media age mano.
The 2 days tour of the leadership of the association and the task force continues.
The Ghana Airports Company Limited has been ordered by the Right Information Commission to release its contract with Frontiers Health Services to JoyNews. It is to comply with this order within 7 days upon receipt of a letter from the Commission communicating the decision. This decision is the Commission's position on the review filed by the JoyNews team after the company had refused to release the said contract as well as provide other information on how much it had made from the COVID-19 testing at the airport. So what exactly is the letter saying? We have details of that letter we'll be sharing with you shortly. And there you have it. Airports Company ordered to release Frontiers Healthcare Service Limited contract to JoyNews. And the contract referred to has already been executed and has neither monetary or potential monetary value to the state. The Commission further finds that the information requested will no way damage the financial interest of the state. The company is also to provide the following addition to the contract: a summary of the procurement information of the GAL and Frontiers Healthcare Services Limited transaction exclusive of tax information and evaluative processes, the total amount of money generated from the COVID-19 testing at the airport from the inception of this agreement. And the letter says the total amount of money that has been made by Frontiers Health Services from the COVID-19 testing at the airport from the inception of the contract with Frontiers to date, and the total amount of money that has been made by the government from the COVID-19 testing at the airport from the inception of the contract with Frontiers till date. Now, new leader of the NDC caucus in Parliament says not being a lawyer will not affect his role as minority leader. The last 3 leaders of the NDC group in Parliament have all been lawyers, and some have expressed concerns that given some of the legal issues that are discussed in Parliament, Dr. Atoforsen will be limited in those discussions. But Dr. Atoforsen says that will not matter at all.
The issue of whether I'm a lawyer and the fact that if you are a lawyer, if you are not a lawyer, you cannot be a minority leader. I don't think that is the case. I mean, the Honorable Chairman Sabonsu is not a lawyer. He was a minority leader for 8 years and a majority leader for 6 years and counting. So he's not a lawyer, and he has discharged himself, and everybody knows what he can and cannot do. In fact, in the first Parliament, J.H. Owusu-Achampong, majority leader, was not a lawyer. And you recall the famous minority leader who also happens to be a former Minister of Finance, J.H. Mensah. J.H. Mensah was a former Minister of Finance, became a minority leader. He's an economist like myself, and he discharged himself. So it doesn't have to be that you should be a lawyer before you perform. And Kobneji, okay, the only thing is that people think that because if you become minority leader, you talk a lot, and if you talk a lot, you have to be like an Afenyo Markin. I don't think so.
This position is backed by Majority Leader Chairman Sabonsu, who says so many leaders in Parliament were not lawyers but discharged their responsibility to perfection and backed Atoforsen to succeed.
The fact that the minority leader is not a lawyer, I think it doesn't have to be part of the equation at all. It's the competence of the person, the versatility of the person. As I keep saying, if you are a leader, you must know something about everything. Because when people are speaking, you must be doing the encapsulation. And if you are not, if you don't know, you'll be found wanting. So that's all that is required. And if you're talking about leaders that this Fourth Republic has seen, certainly you cannot write off J.H. Mensah. I mean, he stands very tall. Economist, a finance person, and he distinguished himself. Owusu-Achampong, J.H. Owusu-Achampong, not a lawyer, agriculturist. He was a master of the rules of procedure. Kabna Ajay came with his own strengths. We had 3 lawyers in succession: Alban, Avoka, and Kumbo. Their strengths are captured in the Hansat.
Very
good. Right. James Abusu, not a lawyer. Not a lawyer, not an economist, not a finance man. I believe, in all humility, that I can stand on my ground in every subject matter. That is what is required of a leader.
Meanwhile, former Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu says he cannot accept the new seat allocated to him in Parliament because it belongs to his senior Collins Dauda. Since he was removed as leader, his seat in the House has been taken over by his successor, Dr. Atufosin. Haruna Idrisu was asked to take over the seat of MP for Esutifi South, Collins Dauda, but has refused. Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante joins us with more. Kweku, has this sitting issue been resolved?
Aisha, it has not been resolved. As Minority Leader, Haruna Idrisu had one of the only 2 black seats in the House. The other belonged to the Majority Leader. Since he was removed and since Parliament came back on Tuesday, this is the first time Haruna Idrisu is coming to the floor when the House is in session. And so when he came, he sat at the seat that Dr. Atufosin used to sit on as ranking member of the Finance Committee. He left there and went to sit on the chair belonging to the first Deputy Speaker because the first Deputy Speaker was now presiding. And so he was commenting on the ratification of the Niamey Convention. And then when he was ending, he said he is apologizing for sitting in the chair of the first Deputy Speaker and that he's sitting there because he's currently seatless and that the seat that has been allocated to him by the new minority leadership belongs to Collins Dauda, who he considers as his senior. And so he cannot take over his seat. The backstory is that since the seat belonging to Collins Dauda was given to Haruna Idrisu, our information is that he wants to give up that seat. He has said that he wants to still be on that seat. And so information is that Haruna Idrisu does not want it to be like he's taking over the seat of someone he considers as his senior. And so until that situation is resolved, he will not take over that seat. And so when he made those comments, he left. As of now, it has not been resolved, and our sources say that the new minority leadership are going to meet on this issue and find some appropriate seats for Haruna Idrisu to sit in the House.
Well, this is something that we want resolved as early as possible. But what else is happening in Parliament?
So the House has been considering a number of papers that have been laid by various ministries, departments, and agencies. They just had to ratify that Niamey Convention that has been put before Parliament by virtue of Article 75, which says all such international agreements must be ratified by Parliament. They have done so now, and they are going to take an adjournment for now.
Kweku Asante is our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent. Definitely, there's more in our subsequent bulletins from Parliament. Now, be mindful of where you buy your foodstuff. That's the caution from the Accra Metropolitan Assembly Environmental Health Team as they stormed the Agbogloshi market for the second time in 7 days. There's more in this week's edition of our Clean Ghana series.
Sounds of AMA sanitation officials in a tussle with some recalcitrant traders at Agbogloshi. A week before that, they were sacked from the shoulders of the road and cautioned not to sell their wares on open drains. That did not end well. It ensued in a fight which the traders seem to have won. They rescued their seized foodstuff from the AMA. Their victory was, however, short-lived. The Assembly Task Force has returned, this time with more personnel who are up to the task. With the help of the police, the defiant traders were arrested and their wares were confiscated. Here is head of the AMA Environmental and Sanitation Team, Florence Kuchi.
It's better to prevent it than to let it happen before we look for remedies to it. So this morning we picked those boys who take take action against the owner. Whatever necessary action we need to take against the owner, we'll take against the owner. If the yam will be given back, we'll give it back. If it's not be given back, we'll give it to the children's home. So that is what we are doing. Since as at now there is no owner, it means the yam is for the state.
Some traders took to their heels after seeing the tax force, so their wares were taken instead, including boxes of tomatoes, pepper, tubers of yam and livestock hide. Many others were asked to clean their surroundings. At the end of the day, 20 people were picked up, but Florence Kuchi says it is only the beginning.
We don't want to put the health of people who are coming into Accra, the city center, to come and shop and go home in danger. We want anybody who comes in here come in here and shop safely and go back safely, so that the economy can grow for us to have a harnessed country.
For JoyNews, Michael Ashali.
We take a short break on JoyNews today. We'll return with more. Welcome back to JoyNews today. Let's turn our attention to the debt exchange program where pension bondholders forum have been picketing at the finance ministry. My colleague James Aveji has been interacting with a retired 81-year-old medical doctor and has sent in this report.
Well, I'm a sick man. I'm 81-year-old and I'm spending a lot on my drugs and my treatment. Very soon I'll be on dialysis, and I know dialysis is very expensive.
I'll come back to talk about that, but if you say you are a doctor, tell us a bit more about yourself.
I'm a retired medical practitioner.
A
retired medical practitioner. I work on my own. I was a private medical practitioner and retired because of sickness, and I saved so that it will help me look after myself. I live on my money. I invested so that I look after myself. I retired on 2017. I retired.
You retired in 2017. Wow. So, at what point did you buy the government bond?
No, I bought it only last year to help me. I wanted to invest to help me look after myself. That's all.
Have you been able to receive any of the coupons since you invested?
No, I don't receive coupons. I don't receive coupons. I invested and then it's maturing in September.
In September 2023?
2023. Yes.
I see. So, what is the relationship between this investment you have made and your health?
No, because I depend on it. And if you sit on it, I cannot look after myself. That's it.
You mentioned that you invested last year with the intention to use that to look after yourself. What exactly do you mean?
I mean, to buy drugs and then dialysis. I'm an old man. I have so many type of diseases. I can't tell you all. But I spend a lot on drugs. And very soon, I'll start dialysis. And I need my money for it. That's why I'm waiting. When the September comes, when I collect my money, I will start the dialysis.
When were you booked to start the dialysis?
Dialysis any time from now, because I'm the end of renal failure. When you are in the stage 4, and you can go renal failure anytime.
With the annual accommodation challenge facing tertiary students, a young lady is initiating an alternative smart solution in easing the problem. The tech platform, dubbed Accommodation, seeks to assist over 220 million students annually in securing affordable accommodation while providing jobs to over 10,000 people in the real estate sector. This accommodation initiative is expected to eventually address SDG goals 1, 3, 4, 8, 9, and 11. Gloria Novo is the CEO of Accommodation. She's been explaining what it means to me.
As we listing hostels on the platform, we realized that there was not enough space to be listed because each year these hostels were already full. So we did more research and we realized that around university environments, around campuses, we had properties that were empty and no one was living in them. And most of these properties were not suitable for students because, one, there was no furniture and or students couldn't afford it. So what we've decided to do now is to create an investment platform where investors and individuals can come together to crowd finance revamping and buying of furniture to turn these properties into hostels. So with that, we'll be able to create new accommodation where students can then book them as hostels. We've spoken to a lot of students and we do know that most of them do not have enough cash to pay up their hostel fees. So we are looking at having payment plans which would be affordable for them to pay.
So you say that this initiative will achieve SDG goals 1, 3, 4, 8, 9, and 11. What are these goals and how would Accommodation achieve this?
Okay, so this is because accommodation alone is linked to so many of the SDG goals that we have. So for example, due to lack of accommodation, some students drop out of school, which then leads to SDG goal 4, quality education not being achieved. So we seek that we provide good, affordable and comfortable accommodation for students. Then this would help promote quality education.
UNICEF Ghana is supporting this initiative under its Startup Lab program. Nirab Shah, manager in charge of planning, monitoring and evaluation at UNICEF, has been explaining why UNICEF is interested.
Firstly, thank you so much for inviting me to this show. It's a pleasure to be here. It's great that Gloria started us off because she's put the use case quite clearly for us. Essentially, the UNICEF Startup Lab is an accelerator program for businesses that work to advance the sustainable development goals for children and young people in Ghana. What we want to focus on is innovative, open source, and market-driven products that can be scalable. Why did we want to do this as UNICEF Ghana, right? As you know, like within the context of Ghana's economy and job market, entrepreneurship is critical for young people to self-start and grow their ideas into businesses. Our belief is that through innovative and technology-focused approaches, young entrepreneurs such as Gloria can tackle old problems, especially social ones, with new ideas and new technology. And this is what led us as UNICEF to design and lead the UNICEF Startup Lab with support from KOICA, which is the Korea International Cooperation Agency, and with our implementing partner, which is West Africa.
The Dododampa Basic School A in the KJB district of the Ute region has been provided with a 3-unit classroom block by a non-profit organization, Pencils of Promise. This would curtail the challenges being faced by the school due to the lack of infrastructure, which compelled authorities to house some classes and their match structure. There's more in this report.
Dododampa Basic School in the KJB district of the Oti region lacked enough infrastructure. This 2-unit mud structure was initially erected to accommodate the kindergarten department. The development had impeded academic activities and also affecting enrollment. Agbesit Sharema is the headmaster of Dododampa DA Basic School.
Previously, the school had no KG block, so the community and the PTA decided to put up this structure here, which we were using for the KG. By looking at it, it was not conducive for the children. So I had to move the KG children to the lower classes, class 1 and class 2, so that we will bring the class 5 and class 6 to this part.
Learning of the plight of the school, the KJB MP, Engineer Yao Gomado, approached Pencils of Promise to support his office erected structure for the kindergarten department.
I was partly brought up here, and we knew what we had gone through in terms of education. We were fortunate to finally have the primary school, but kindergarten and the JHS was a problem for us, especially the children as their numbers were increasing.
With support from an international organization, Floki, a 3-unit classroom block and a sanitary facility were erected. The Ghana Country Director of Pencils of Promise, Freeman Goba, explained his outfit is determined to ensure that every child has equal access to education.
Our core mandate is to provide school infrastructure, sanitation facility for schools that do not have these structures. The other one that we also do, because we know that a school is not only the physical structure we are seeing, though a key part of education delivery. So we also support teachers through our teacher support program, where we provide education or training through workshops for teachers that are in this classroom. We want to be sure that these classrooms are being put in good use. So we'll be visiting the community just like we are doing for all the other schools that we have built, the 197 schools we've built within these 10 years that we've been operating in Ghana.
When a child wakes up, nobody will ask the child to go to school because the child knows that he has a good environment where he or she can come and learn. So the structure will help promote school attendance and also teaching and learning in the school.
Fred Kwame Asari, JoyNews, Dodo Dompa.
We're live on JoyNews today, and we'll take a break and we'll return. There's business coming up shortly.
Hello, good afternoon. Warm welcome to the business segment on JoyNews Desk with me, Pius Kojobaka. Executive Chairman of the World Trade Center, Accra, and investment banker Togbe Afede the 14th is asking local businesses to take advantage of the current economic crisis to expand the operations. Now, speaking to Joy Business at the launch of the 53rd General Assembly of the World Trade Center Association, he stressed the need for local firms to leverage partnerships with other foreign businesses to support economic growth and improve various productive sectors.
The World Trade Centers Association focuses on business opportunities across the continents of Africa and beyond, bringing together new and expanded opportunities. According to Togbe Afede the 14th, businesses in Ghana should not allow the current challenges to stifle their growth.
The whole objective of GA 2023 is to bring in a lot of potential investors in our country and of course across Africa. As I said, Ghana is still a small country, and I think we derive more mileage making this program an African program. As a people, we have to be ready for all who are going to come from across the world, including Africa, to meet here in April. So our entrepreneurs must be ready, our bankers must be ready. A lot of people are going to come into this country with interest in a broad array of sectors, from energy to aviation, to agriculture, to infrastructure. We simply have to be ready to engage with, if possible, specific opportunities or investment ideas for partnership.
He entreated government to develop new strategies to avoid crowding out effects on the private sector.
This kind of backward-looking approach, I call it a self-fulfilling prophecy. It exports the past into the future until we start looking at it properly. Okay? and determine interest rates based on expectation, as opposed to based on what happened in the past, bad past. We cannot break out of it. I think there must be a change in approach where we are looking forward in fixing interest rates than looking backwards. Again, the crowding out is an issue of interest rates. The only way to achieve it is to get interest rates lowering. And the only way to lower interest rates is to stop looking back. When you are targeting 8% inflation over the next 1 year, then you look back at year-on-year inflation of 25% to set interest rate going forward. We cannot break out of it. And that's what I say has created a vicious cycle of high interest rates, high inflation, high interest rates, and that crowds all of us out.
This year's 53rd General Assembly of the World Trade Centers Association is under the theme Towards African Economic Integration and Enhanced Global Presence. The event will run from April 23 to 25 this year.
Now, chiefs and youth groups in the 5 Newmont Ahafo North areas have appealed to the government to revoke state laws to ensure the start of the mining project without further delays. Some aggrieved farmers have refused to grant the mining company access to their farms and other properties over compensation-related issues. At a joint press conference, the youths and the chiefs groups accused Wakam of brainwashing the farmers, but warned the government to act and pave the way for the project expected to create employment for the youth and help develop the communities. Precious Semevo has more.
Tetre, Adroba, Susanso, Efrisipa, and Yamfo in the Tano North district of the Ahafo region are the host communities of the Newmont Ahafo North project. But some aggrieved farmers have refused to grant access to their farms and other properties over compensation-related issues. According to the chiefs and coalition of Ahafo North youths, attempts by the key stakeholders to engage the farmers for an amicable solution proved futile, and they accused Wakam of being behind it. At a joint press conference at Efrisipa, Nana Obonin Nkrare IV, the chief of Efrisipa, noted that the situation left them with no option but to appeal to the government to use state powers for the project to commence for the communities and Ghana's benefit. Some of our people disagree with Newmont, but after engagement, we agreed to allow access to their lands, only for them to back out on the advice of Wakam. If we will not back down for an amicable resolution, then I appeal to the government to use the LI to resolve it, to pave way for Newmont to start the project, to ease our suffering. We don't want February to end without any sign. We are determined and will not allow a few individuals to frustrate our progress. The coalition warned Wakam to cease all operations in the communities, else they would be faced squarely. Richard Yeboah is the vice chairman.
The coalition, knowing the kind of development coming into our community, will not sit down for Wakam to disrupt a project that will benefit the youth and the community at large for their selfish interest. The coalition would like to send a caution to Wakam to desist from any attempt to disrupt the Newmont Ahafo North project, because the coalition and Ananom are ready to face them squarely and their anti-mining ideology. We again ask our brothers and sisters to come to the table for amicable solution. However, since we cannot compel them, we ask the government to act collectively to pave way for the progress of the project, whilst using the process to address the individual's concern.
Meanwhile, some aggrieved farmers have appealed to the government and other stakeholders to also ensure that the agreed compensations are paid in time to avoid the devaluation of their money. Precious Semevo, JoyNews, Efrisipa.
And that'll be all for business. I am Pius Kojubaka.
Welcome back to JoyNews today to the rest of our stories. And JoyNews is learning that at least 5 people have been killed in fresh shootings at Bawku in the Upper East region. The shootings are said to have occurred mid-morning Wednesday. Police say in the last 3 days, at least 10 people have been shot and 6 deaths recorded. The others are receiving treatment in the hospital. Of the 6 people dead, 1 of them was killed on Monday evening, less than 4 hours, after the regional minister, Stephen Yakubu, led RECSEC to visit the factions in Bawku. Albert Sori is our Upper East regional correspondent. He joins us with more. Albert, can you confirm this, the 5 people who have been killed in addition? Hello, Albert.
Say that in the last 3 days, there have been shootings. 10 people were shot, and we have 6 people dead. This is according to ASP Adamu Seidu, who is Chief Superintendent Adamu Seidu of the Bawku Police Command. Now, he tells us that they are currently on the ground, and so he won't be able to give us much details in terms of whether there are other deaths, but he says that this is what has happened. Now, we are learning that of the 5 people who have been killed recently, 4 of them died on the spot, 2 people were taken to the hospital, and then 1 of them later passed. So, of the recent shootings, the one that occurred yesterday mid-morning, 1 person is still on admission. The regional minister tells us that the situation has brought more attention to Bawku, and the atmosphere in his words is currently one that's charged, but they are doing their best. The security are on the ground trying to get things under control.
Do you know what is fueling this new shootings?
Yes, so it's still in connection with the long-standing chieftaincy conflict that has been in Bawku. But from what we get from what the minister was telling us on Joy FM this afternoon, these recent shootings may just be as a result of reprisals that came when a person was shot on Monday after the Regional Security Council left Bawku. Remember that the regional minister led the RECSEC to meet the factions in Bawku on Monday, and when they left, on Monday evening, just around 3 hours or 4 hours after the RECSEC left Bawku, there were shootings in which 1 person was killed. According to the minister, 2 more people, were shot, and so this seems to be as a result of reprisals from the latest shootings that happened on Monday.
Albert Sori is our Upper East Region correspondent. There is more in subsequent bulletins. Just stay with the Joy News channel. We'll take a break, and it's time for sports.
Welcome to the sports segment with me, Razak Musbao. Now, after many years without a sports policy, the country is on the verge of finalizing one with the objective of developing the sports sector. The Sports Minister, Mustafa Yusuf, met stakeholders yesterday to solicit input on the draft national sports policy.
Today's event is a manifestation of the direction and focus of my administration in establishing a sustainable and targeted strategies for the development of sports in its entirety. I'm very, very grateful to you all for taking time off your busy schedule to come here for this very important and historic chapter we have embarked on. We are indeed thankful and grateful, and we are also very certain that with a huge repertoire of knowledge and experience, this draft document will be enhanced and enriched so that at the end we will achieve our objective for establishing the committee that has come out with the draft. When the document is published, we can all identify with it and come together to work towards its success. As the purpose of this meeting and the document has indicated, and my chief director just mentioned why we are here. The consultation and the draft document, please feel free to feed into it and bring your thoughts, ideas to make this document really ours and to direct our focus and attention to achieve the dream and the wishes we have always imagined and we had for sports of our dear country. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, Ghana has been in dear need of policy direction for the development of sports in our country. The absence of the sports policy or program to inform sports development and sports for development is a dent in our sports journey, considering the international reputation of our athletes have built for our nation in various sporting disciplines.
Now, despite doubts about Ghana's preparedness to host the 2023 All-Africa Games, President of the Ghana Olympic Committee, Ben Nunu-Mensah, says the country is on course to welcome Africa to the 13th edition of the event. The Games, expected to kick off on August 4th, have been hampered by the unavailability of funds for the completion of the hosting facilities.
I serve on the LOC for the African Games.
Okay.
And as far as I'm concerned, as we stand now, the Games is scheduled to start from the 4th of August.
This year?
This year. What I know from being a member of the LOC is that yes, we have challenges, especially the misunderstanding between the AU, who are the owners of the Games, and then the African Confederations, and then ANOCA. You know, ANOCA is the mother body of all the Olympic committees in Africa. You know, there's still a lot of misunderstanding as to who would manage and who organize the Games, and that has not been cleared yet. I also know that because of COVID, you know, we got a bit late in infrastructure, starting our infrastructure. Okay, so those are the challenges, and I know sometime very soon we're likely to have the impasse between the AU and then ANOCA solve. I know there's going to be a meeting somewhere in February and in Addis, and His Excellency the President himself will be there, and I hope that could, you know, that forum would allow everybody to solve our problem.
Well, that's all we have for you on sports. Up next is entertainment.
Good afternoon, welcome to Showbiz here on JoyNews. Now, apart from his quest to build a film studio in Ghana, English actor Idris Elba also wants to see creative arts education in the country being more functional. Idris, in an interview with Opimswo FM in Kumasi, said it is imperative that people who seek places in the creative industry get educated.
Love to collaborate, but you know what? I think because I'm making films and I'm trying to tell stories, I'm going to open, hopefully, gateways for artists to bring their music, have music in the films, tell stories about the originations of their music, whether it's in documentary or it's in storytelling. You know, all these young rappers, they're also actors. They also have their own stories to tell. So that's how I want to unpack. And again, this is not specific to Ghana. It's specific to Africa. Africa's story has been always told outside of Africa. It's important now we start telling our stories inside of Africa, from Africans.
Any plans for the young people who are interested moving into the movie industry?
You know, part of the plan that we have, which lives in building studios, is policy. The policy comes from the government, and it makes sure people can find a way to industrialize filmmaking. But a part of that is about education, okay? Education is the key. Young people get educated. It's important to, if you want to be an actor, if you want to be a storyteller, you want to be a cameraman, you have to go to school.
Yes.
Okay? School is a good.
Away from Idris, highlight musician Kwabena says all is set for his annual Love concert this weekend. Speaking in an interview on Joy FM, the Aso hitmaker says he can't wait to party with his fans.
I'm afraid to lose you.
this is the 5th edition Vitamilk is bringing to us. This is the 5th edition, and it promises to be one hell of a great show.
I can imagine.
I have a new album out. I have a couple of repertoire on that album, which has never been performed before on any stage.
Right, so it's going to be the first.
You know what I mean? Like a song like Regina.
Yes, you have to see Regina being performed live. Please, if you are called Regina, please come by and see the Valentine Love Night. And of course, if you're also Reginald, it's also in there, right?
It's in there.
Regina, Reg. How have you been preparing towards all of this?
It's been a wonderful preparation. Music directors, band, almost everybody been working around the clock in the last month. We started preparation. And I think we have just a few days to actually close our rehearsal and then be ready for you. Start the setup by Friday.
There's more showbiz news in our subsequent bulletins. That'll be all for Showbiz here on JoyNews today.
And that's how we wrap up the bulletin this afternoon. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Log on to myjoyonline.com for more news. Enjoy the rest of our programs.